Morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Coffee with Cory. I'm your host, Cory Smith, here to discuss some NC State men's basketball on this beautiful morning. About to leave, actually, to go do Dave Dorn availability. He's got one this morning right after practice, so we'll go discuss some football with him. We'll have that up on the site later. We'll also have some discussion about women's basketball. We'll have a preview for women's basketball as well, going into the first game on Friday once we know the opponent. So we'll have all of that stuff on the site later today. But I wanted to talk a little bit about where NC State's resume stands, where the bracketology currently stands. We won't go too long on this because I am a little pressed for time this morning. But simple fact right now, obviously the Duke loss was a tough one to take, but it was one that you almost, not expected, but you can take. It's not as bad. NC State right now actually 5-8 in quad one games because Auburn has moved up slightly. So that road game helps NC State a little bit. No, it doesn't help because your quad one now says 5-8, but when you combine the two, NC State currently sitting at 11-10 between quad one and quad two games. So if you're putting it in that perspective, they're still in a good spot. The fact that the Kansas loss still kind of hurts a little bit because you had a chance in that one. There's a couple others where, if you won those games, tight games at home, it would have helped significantly. But the game against Miami still hurts a little bit, but Miami moving up to the top 30, it now is a quad one loss. So that's not as terrible, as it might have seemed at home or anything along those lines. The only blemish still to this point, the only true blemish to this point was the Georgia Tech loss. That was a quad four loss. The road game against Notre Dame hurt a little bit, but that's actually a quad two loss, so it's not too terrible at this point, given the fact that Notre Dame is inside the top 100 overall. So that helps a little bit that Notre Dame is moving up somewhat. But just looking at the overall resume for NC State, in the net rankings right now, sitting at number 33, according to Ken Palm, sitting at number 35 overall. I believe they were number 30 yesterday. So it is moving back a little bit when it comes to the net rankings. But again, that's not one that they've, the committee has said they're going to prioritize a lot. You're still in good standing right now. And everything that we've seen as far as the bracketology is concerned, NC State still sitting somewhere around an 8 or a 9 seed. I know a couple have had them as a 10 seed. I think it's Mike DeCourcy with Fox Sports has them as a 10 seed. And, I think a lot of people kind of would prefer that. Like if you're going to be around that muddy middle and you're not going to be in Dayton for an 11 seed and you're not going to be all the way up to a 6 or a 7 seed for NC State, you kind of prefer to be a 10 seed and have a chance to, play against a 7 seed, a team that's better than you. But we've seen, there's not elite 7 seeds this year. One of the matchups that I saw was against Villanova. Villanova lost one of their best players earlier this season. And so if you're looking for a chance to win the first game, build some momentum in the tournament, a 10 seed wouldn't be so bad. You're playing a team that is expected to beat you. And so there's this thought process of like, all right, we got to go out there and beat them, on the court, not on paper. So they have a chance to do that. But the big thing right now for NC State, what they need to do is, try to, first of all, win. That is priority number one. You go into Saturday against Stanford. This is a good Stanford team, not a great Stanford team. It's a team that has, won some games, obviously winning at home against UNC much earlier in the season. But, the fact that they, as of right now, aren't, inside of the picture at all for the NCAA tournament or anything along those lines. This is a team that, as of right now is sliding in the ACC tournament standings, but has a chance to be, some difficult competition, just given the fact that, again, they just came off of a win actually at Notre Dame. They also beat SMU and beat Pittsburgh. So there's a chance that they come in after a 3-game winning streak and play really well in this game. The big one to obviously worry about, Abeko Okore, a guy that, is averaging as a freshman, averaging 22.8 points per game over these last few games. I want to make sure I get the stats correct here because I know against Stanford or against Notre Dame, he had 24 points, but again, a guy that's been playing really well recently too. 24 points against Notre Dame, 22 points against SMU, 34 points against Pittsburgh. So, I said that they were sliding in the ACC standings. They're not sliding right now. They're just not in a good spot still. But as of right now, this is a game that NC State has to win. You have to win this game, not because of just because of the metrics and it's going to help you that much in the seeding. I don't think it's going to boost them up a seed line or anything like that. Beating a team in Stanford that is, right now still kind of like near the bottom of the standings overall in the ACC. But this is a team that, is still dangerous, is still a team that, NC State has to compete with. They're actually sitting at 19-11 overall, the same record as NC State. They just haven't played as well against better competition in the ACC. Losses to Clemson, losses to Wake Forest, losses to Miami, Duke. Those all kind of hurt them when it comes to what their resume looks like. So for NC State, this is a must-win situation. Again, it's the same as last Saturday. That was a must-win game, or not even a can't-lose game. But like, if you want to put yourself in a good position to be, up a seed line or help yourself here, you have to not only win this game, but then start building towards what you're going to do in the ACC tournament too. Because once you get to the ACC tournament, I feel like this team, as of right now, you're still in a good spot. But if you really want to get yourself up in a better position, winning this game and then maybe one or two in the ACC tournament. Terrence McCallan that wrote for us earlier today wrote a story all about where NC State stands when it comes to the bracketology. But his kind of note at the end there is 22 and 12 by the end of the season. If you can win this game and win one or two more once you get to the ACC tournament, looks a lot different than if you lose the next two and you go 19-13 overall and you've lost at that point 8 of your last 9 games. That is not a good spot to be in at all. And again, I think the fact that you've lost this many games and you're still in a good spot tells you everything you need to know about how good this team has been playing. But you've got to fix this resume at the very end here to not be a team that's not passing the eye test at the end of the season. You want a team that's competitive by the time you get to the NCAA tournament, and you're not going to put a team like that at a 7 or an 8 seed or anything along those lines to be able to compete. Let's see. Mountain Pack said, if they lose out, I'd be surprised if Will Wade accepts an NIT bid. I mean, I don't know. You still have some young players on this team that you can build up, and the fact that you get to play in Reynolds, especially if the women aren't playing at home, which it doesn't look like they will get a top 4 seed either. And then someone said here, I think if we lose out, still go to Dayton. Yes. I mean, this is still an NCAA tournament team if you lose out, but you don't want to have to go to Dayton. Like, you don't want to have to, be an 11 seed competing to just get into the NCAA tournament, the real NCAA tournament at that point. So you want to do everything you can over these next few games to continue building this resume. And then Packing with Gary said, when does that senior desperation kick in? We have so many, but they are acting like they have more eligibility. Yeah, I mean, look, I think there has been desperation in some of these games recently. It's just they haven't kicked it in. Like, for whatever reason, you look at the Notre Dame loss last weekend, to me was one of the biggest, glaring issues of that was the fact that, like, you look like a team that was able to compete the entire game, and then for whatever reason, just took a bunch of jump shots at the end, took a bunch of threes at the end, didn't make any of them. So that certainly hurt you. But we'll see. I think this is a team that feels the desperation going into Stanford. Now it's about not pressing too much, because Stanford is still a good team. Like, this is not a terrible Stanford team that we've seen in the past, mostly because they do have a star. They do have some guys around them that can contribute as well. So it's not a great rebounding team overall. So for NC State, you can kind of take advantage there and try to get them out of being an efficient team overall. So if they're able to do those things, then you can win this game. But it's about doing the little things, winning between the margins, and trying to do everything you can to pull this game out. So, but as I said, I've got to roll because I do need to run down to go get Doran right now. But Thank you to everybody for listening. We'll have much more content up over the next few days leading up to this game, and we'll have plenty of content for women's basketball, football, baseball, everything along those lines too. So thank you to everybody for listening. We'll talk to you again soon.